This new YouTube policy is giving me deja vu because I swear I was saying the same stuff for the T-app, and it's way worse this time. So in today's rant, we're going to be talking about YouTube's age verification powered by AI and how that's really shady, especially what's been going on in the United States government. You know what I'm saying? I want us to all remember the T-app. Remember that video uploaded 2 weeks ago? I know, time been flying like that. I want you to watch and remember that and then realize that this situation is 10 billion times worse. So what is one of the shady parts about YouTube's new age verification powered by AI? Well, the fact that it's powered by AI, bro. From reading articles discussing what this AI will be doing, it will be judging users based on their viewing history. What this means is that whatever you watch will determine your age. So if you're 28 years old watching Roblox videos, you might get hit with that under 18. But on the inverse, if you're watching more adult-centric videos such as politics or entertainment or comedy, they're going to label you as an adult. So what happens when this AI labels you as a minor? There will be limited to no personalized ads for people under the age of 18 on YouTube, which why isn't that just the case for everybody? Stop targeting us, but you know. And an important one is the take a break notification, because yes, consuming that much brain rot is a problem, and I'm happy that YouTube is doing these things. Now let me be clear when I talk about these policies. The policies themselves are actually good in protecting teens, right? But the problem is, why did it take YouTube over 10 years to figure this out? YouTube Kids has been out since 2015, bruh. This should have been commonplace before they launched an entire YouTube Kids platform, right? Like, why wasn't that in check? Not to mention all of the scandals that happened on YouTube Kids, such as ElsaGate and the weird YouTube search thing where if you put a space in, you got a whole bunch of really nasty things I'm not gonna talk about because, ooh. And YouTube didn't curb those things immediately either. It took a lot of the community to speak out on these things for them to say, maybe we should delete these weirdo videos on our platform that involve kids, you know? Like, I still don't get it, bruh. Let me get off my soapbox. Let's talk about this AI again. This AI will also analyze all users on the platform despite the age listed on their profile, which, once again, isn't an issue because people do lie about their age. When YouTube was coming up, I definitely lied and said I was 18 when I was, you know, probably 10 years old. We all did it. I'm not the only one. As I said before, on the surface, this all looks great. This looks like, man, YouTube is taking the right steps to protect my child on the platform. But what happens if this AI, in charge of judging whether a person is a minor or not, bucks up in its judgment? If the users feel like the AI has labeled them in the wrong age group, they can appeal by uploading their credit card information, their driver's license, or uploading a selfie. This is what we were talking about with the T-app and how it was a bad idea to ask its users to upload pictures of their ID and license. Asking users for this is OD, bro. You don't need all of that information to just operate the damn app, right? This is basically the T-app breach on a larger scale, bro. But instead of the incel group that hacked and leaked those women's data, it's now Google using your data and giving it to, who knows, maybe the US government. With that being said, the government wants all of that data so they can track you, see your activities, see your favorite hobbies, see your tendencies. They're using all of that data to stop the revolution from being televised. And the best example of this for me is the TikTok pre and post ban. Anybody that uses that app, feel this shit, bro. We know there is a definite shift from how the app operated before the ban and how the app operates now after the ban. One of the creators I watch a lot on TikTok, Chris Valenti, got banned for talking about what happened in the news, bro. It was against the agenda of the government. They didn't like it, and through the connection that TikTok has with the US government, they banned him. That's crazy. Before the ban, it seemed like you could find anything on TikTok, and I mean literally anything, dog. I don't really remember the year when this was popping off on TikTok, but it was when France was having their uprising revolution in reaction to the retirement age going up, and how they literally was burning that shit down. There were videos showing that reality, despite the reality that we were being fed on TV, even YouTube sometimes. That was the most raw version of the world. And before the ban, we seen a lot of pro-Palestine content. We seen a lot of perspectives, especially from those suffering from the genocide in Gaza. Now, you can barely get a mention of that, and the most you might get is a Palestinian flag in a comment section. It is genuinely crazy to get on this platform where I feel like I can speak my voice and talk about things that are important. I have to code my language so the algorithm doesn't immediately just nuke my video, bro. And you can see this same type of code on other types of content if you go check TikTok, the whole cute winter boots discussion. Like, yes, we all understand that now because it's been explained through not saying much. But what happens when our language becomes so coded that the intended audience doesn't even understand what the hell we saying? We can be talking about gloves, cute winter boots, wireless Bluetooth. I'm just making stuff up at this point, but if I'm saying all of this and my intended audience does not understand that, I'm yelling at nothing. If anything, I'm harming my group by not being direct and allowing them to actually see the definition of what I'm saying. And I can't even blame content creators in this situation, bro. If content creation is your full-time job and you depend on this algorithm to give you a banger, you're gonna code up your language as much as you got to because that video is dependent on your survival, bro. If that video don't bang, you might not make rent this month. You might not be able to eat this month. But now we're stuck in this weird cycle where the content creators want to get the message out there, but they have to filter it through the algorithm and the audience who is slowly losing the context of the overall point of what they were talking about. And this all stops the revolution from being televised because the messaging on the television no longer makes sense to anybody. Something interesting about oppressive governments and regimes is that they love to use kids as the vehicle to take other people's rights away, not to mention people's safety. An interesting way that folks justify their rights being taken is in protecting the children. And as somebody that does believe in protecting the children, I believe in protecting the children from everything, not just the thing for me that's politically convenient. If we're gonna talk about protecting children in schools, we need to solve the bigger issue, which is school shootings. I don't know if this stat is still true, Editor Dom add this unfortunately, but hasn't there been a school shooting every day for the past 3 years? Even if it's not a school shooting, bruh, some form of mass shooting has probably happened every single day for the past 2 years. So much so that the mainstream news stopped reporting on it. Even they can't care about it anymore. But what the government is more invested in is forcing trans kids to use their assigned sexist bathroom as opposed to stopping, I don't know, the school shootings I just talked about. Another way that kids are being used as a vehicle to take rights away is the whole schools of choice debacle. I was a kid that had schools of choice. You probably were a kid that had schools of choice. If you were, drop it in the comments. What was your experience with that? At least in my experience, it was very limiting on where I had to go. And I dealt with a lot of trauma through my high school experience. Don't want to talk about it. If you scroll far enough down in this channel, you might find a story time or 7, but we won't get there right now. We've grown. But schools of choice is being used as a mechanism to dismantle public schools in favor for-profit private and charter schools, bro. And do not get me wrong here. There are great charter schools, there are great private schools. But when the only option is charter and private, you force the kids who can't pay for it, but more specifically the parents who can't pay for it, you're forcing them to get into debt to put their kid through basic education. And the benefit for the government as well as these private donors is that they get tax write-offs and they make profits off of these lower income folks who are paying tooth and nail to just give their kid basic tuition. It's evil, it's bad, and they should stop using kids to further these agendas. It's just a bad agenda to begin with. And if you see anybody engaging with the whole schools of choice thing, tell them to read The Education Wars by Jennifer Berkshire. I promise you it's a great read and they will no longer be talking about it. But now let's get back to YouTube and their attempt to try to protect the kids and teens now. I told you when YouTube Kids was formed. Why did it take YouTube this long to start caring about teens and kids when they easily made a platform that they could profit off of them from? Not to mention YouTube Kids for that 9 years more than likely served as a free basin of just data. Like whoever data they wanted, they could just grab it for the next 8 years. And it's very reminiscent of the US government and private donors playbook, as I just mentioned with the schools of choice thing. I think the most dangerous part about this is the fact that YouTube as a platform can now just be compromised, bro. Because we do live in a different world now. Folks do not use traditional television as their primary form of entertainment. I am included in that list. My majority of entertainment comes from YouTube. I don't watch Netflix. I don't really use streaming services. The only thing I'm watching right now is Snowfall, and I don't want to hear how fucking late I am. Look, save it. One of the main reasons why YouTube has replaced traditional TV is because of how personal that experience is. Whenever you're using YouTube, it feels like you can find that perfect video no matter what the occasion or the topic for real. Because unlike traditional TV, you can actually use YouTube to gain knowledge. It almost operates as a audio-visual library where if you can figure out how to type in the topic, you will get the knowledge. One of my favorite examples is Michael Reeves, and how if you ever seen his videos, that man can code. But that man learned his code from free Harvard YouTube videos. The potential of what you could do by using YouTube as a platform to gain knowledge from is endless, bro. It's something that everybody can gain something useful from. There's a YouTube video for everything, basically. But with this YouTube AI age verification, the biggest thing that can happen is that people's personal ID is now directly tied to their YouTube data, meaning that whatever someone searches a video, watches a video, likes a video, it is no longer anonymous. Whoever wants to get that data can get that data, and that data is going to be Google or the government. When you're able to track everybody, see what they're doing, see their habits, you're also able to control what they're allowed to see. If you're able to control what people are able to see, you're able to control the narrative about your country, about your regime, about your agenda. Because with censorship, you can make that agenda the only agenda, and any other resistance towards it can be punished or erased from history. And we're seeing history be erased actively. I'm talking about crazy shit that should never be erased is just being boink backspaced. We can't do this, bro. With history being erased, people can also be erased. And this is happening with the kidnappings that ICE is doing to innocent civilians. Let's get more specific. Not just innocent civilians, innocent US citizens using their First Amendment right to speak out on what they think is correct. You currently see what's happening to folks who are getting kidnapped by ICE. Imagine that with the now $150 billion funding they have. And I want to give a lot of credit to Omar's big sister because of their TikTok. I did learn a lot on my research about how deep this goes, and I want to give them their flowers because without that, I wouldn't be able to yap about what I'm talking about. So cheers. Link in the description, all that good stuff, y'all know. So what are we to do about this, right? Especially as folks who want to mobilize, organize. First of all, just organize in person. Stop using the internet to organize. It is the reason why these things are getting caught up and why progress can't be moved, because we're giving the steps up, right? We're just showing the blueprint by putting it online. But if we're going to use the internet, we're going to use a phrase, and it is called OPSEC. OPSEC, operational security. I want you to treat any device that could connect to the internet as if an FBI agent is looking over your shoulder. Anything and everything will be used against you. And if you don't think anything and everything will be used against you, let's look at the Black Panthers and how they did Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. If you want more modern examples, let's use Chris Smalls and Muhammad Khalil. These people were using their First Amendment right as US citizens to speak about something wrong that's happening in the government, and they were kidnapped and beat for it. What we need to do is accept that as a reality, that this is going to happen to folks that do this, that speak out against the regime that's currently going on. If we acknowledge it, we can make a plan to move forward and protect people instead of letting this happen over and over again. But the point is, if the government really wants to that bad, they will. They don't care who you are. But that's the end of this rant, man. Have you heard of the YouTube AI age verification thing? And the crazy part that I didn't even get to mention is that as of recording this, it happens tomorrow. I don't know what it looks like. I don't think I'm part of the group that's gonna get tested first, but if it goes well, everybody's gonna get tested. So let's really hope this test fails, right? And even if the test passes, let's really hope we can resist against it. Or just find a different platform that isn't Google Ran that can take your data, right? Nebula, please give me a sponsorship. But I digress. I wanna hear your comments. Let's have a dialogue. And subscribe, man. Talking about this makes me kind of scared because I do love YouTube and what it's brought to me, but seeing that something like this could threaten my future on this platform for real is scary, but it makes me cherish being able to make videos right now for y'all. I love y'all to death. Y'all have been some of the realest people. Y'all are still the best support I've gotten on any online platform I've ever gotten, and I'm forever humbled by that. So thank you for sticking around, and thank you for being so kind as y'all always have been. I appreciate my subscribers, both old and new, because you make my dreams of being a content creator realer and realer every day, and I love you. Yes, sir. If you want to follow my Instagram, that's down in the description. But yeah, man, it's been Based Down, people. Deuces.
Yeah.